Today's class we'll be talking about compound interest and simple interest, right? So compound interest and simple interest are basically charges which are charged by the banks, right? Okay. And talking about the GST or the sales tax, you guys are clear with that or not? Hmm?
Not it's kind of
Not
confusing to understand.
kind of confusions.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Look, as we were talking about GST and value added tax now, as we were talking about sales tax and value added tax, talked about it to be as the charges which are being levied by the government on the sale of an item, right? So for example, as I said that, for example, the selling price of an article is 500 and sales tax was 7% on it. So what was the amount of the sales tax? So we calculated it to be 7% of 500. Okay, so suppose you are given XYZ any article, and you the sales tax applied on that article is 7%. So the final selling price of the article is not 500. The final bill is not 500. It will be 500 plus 7% of 500. Getting it right? The final bill became 535. Okay, so this 535 is selling price plus sales tax included. Getting it, Ahmed?
Mm,
Okay,
kind of.
it is quite simple. Look, let's say I'm a shopkeeper. Okay, and I have certain articles in my shop. Okay, so originally its price is the bill price is 535. So in the bill price of the article, 35 rupees goes to government as sales tax. Goes to government as in the form of sales tax. Getting it?
Yes.
Like 535 rupees की कोई article है मेरे shop पे. Okay. 500 rupees comes to my pocket. It comes to me, while 35 rupees goes to government as sales tax. Is it clear now? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Same method is applicable for value added tax also. We calculate value added tax in the same manner. Okay. Okay. We discussed few questions. And talking about the GST, look, earlier we had so many indirect taxes. Okay, like there was taxes applied at state level, there was taxes applied at central level, but all those indirect taxes were removed, and a universal and single tax, that is goods and services tax, was introduced in the year 2017, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
it improved our convenience that we had to pay tax at one place only, and it was basically imposed in the forms of 5%, 12%, 18%, and so on. Okay, and I also told that fundamental requirement things like water, air, these things do not have any taxes on them. So they have got 0% GST on them, or they are tax-free things, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So would you like to solve some more questions? I guess we should be solving some more questions, then it will become more clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Arhan, Walaikum Assalam. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay, as I told you guys in the earlier class as well, that GST is counted, is it is charged in the form of 5%, 12%, 18%, right? 18% or 28%. Okay, so on different articles the GST charge is different. Okay, so I'm giving you guys a question over here. Okay, so let's say the list price of an article is basically an object here, all right, is rupees 16,925. Okay, and on that article if GST charged is, let's say it to be 12%, charge is 12%. Okay, calculate the amount to be paid by the customer for purchasing it. The question is that you need to calculate the amount to be paid by the customer for purchasing it. Let me write it over here. Calculate the amount to be paid by the customer for purchasing. Basically, you are required to calculate the final bill of the product that will be paid to the shopkeeper. It is pretty simple now, guys. We solved this type of questions in the previous one, no?
Sir,
Yes, Arhan?
sir, can you tell us the formula?
The formula, the method. Okay, sure. Look.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's solve it then. Okay. The list price or the marked price. Okay, but basically the list price of the article is how much? 16,925, guys. Okay. And the question says that 12% of GST was applied on this article, no? So 12% of what? 12% of 16,925. All right. So the final price is going to be what?
Yes, sir.
According to the question, final bill is basically 16,925 plus 12% of this amount, no? जितनी हमारी लिस्ट प्राइस है प्लस इसके ऊपर 12% ऑफ जीएसटी लग रही है so you calculate, you find out 12% of 16,925 is how much. Okay, so we simply need to add them. It's 12 upon 100 multiplied 16,925. Calculate this one and do tell me what is the answer. Or do one thing, just find out this one and later on you can add it. Yes, that gives you how much?
Yes, sir.
Calculate this one. 12 upon 100 multiplied 16,925.
Sir,
Okay. Yeah.
it gives you 2031.
2031. Rupees 2031. So this is your GST amount. Okay. So we need to add this GST amount to the list price. Then we will get the final bill, right? So 16,925 and this needs to be added. That is how much, guys? 18,956. Is that the value?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ahmed and Arhan, did you guys got this one?
Yes, sir. Can you give us another question? So that we can solve it.
Yes, Arhan?
So can you give us another question
Yeah,
so we can
yeah,
solve
sure.
it?
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's take a question here. Okay. So question is Zafar. Let's take a person to be a Zafar. He bought a hair dryer for rupees, let's say 5,664. Okay, and it included. There's a slight variation in this question, guys. Okay, like this question was direct. You have to calculate the final bill. But in the another question, I will be giving you the final bill. That is 5,664 is the final bill. And GST also I'm including in this question. So it included 18% of GST. Okay, so you are required to find the price of the hair dryer before GST was added on it. Getting it, Ahmed and Arhan?
So, sir, the previous question was similar to this one.
Both the questions in the both of the questions, there's a slight difference here. In the first question, you were required to find the final bill. Okay, so final bill was basically the listed price plus 12% of the listed price. Okay, listed price plus GST percent here basically. Let me write it in the form of formula. That will be more convenient. So final bill here is equal to, you understood, no? Good. Ahmed, you? So list price
Yes,
plus
sir.
GST. Okay. So list price will be given in the question and GST will be calculated like this. Whatever percent is given, for example, here it's 12%. So 12% of the list price here. Okay. And now suppose I'm giving in the question, if the final bill is given and GST is also given, then also you guys can calculate the what? The list price. Let me show you how. Uh, I think you guys should try to solve it first. So find the price of the hair dryer before GST was applied. Okay, find this one, guys. So first, now you guys can do one thing. You guys can calculate the GST. Okay, but the thing is here, there's a one more thing here, which is missing in the question, which makes it a bit complicated. Look, GST is calculated always on list price, just as how we calculate cost price on sorry, profit on cost price or loss on cost price. Now here you calculate GST on the listed price. Like GST जो हमारी listed price है उसी के ऊपर तो लगती है, isn't it?
Yes, sir,
Getting it, guys?
yes, I cannot hear you.
Arhan, please speak aloud. The voice is not perfectly audible. Ahmed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Few things like GST is always calculated on the listed price. Remember this thing. Okay. So for look at this formula over here, while we were finding out this GST. So we find out as per the question, it was given 12% GST is being applied here. So 12% of listed price was being calculated here now to find out the GST. And whatever GST amount came, for example, this 2031 came, we added it to the list price here. Then we got the final bill. Getting it?
Yes, sir.
No.
Mm,
Arhan, what about you?
Sir, actually, I had a problem, so but I understood.
You understood it? Okay, look. Here, basically, what is being done now? For example, in this question, as let's discuss this question once more. The listed price of the article was given to be 16,925. Okay, but you can't sell this article at the same price to the to the customer, because I have to pay GST also to the government now. So I will include as per the government guideline. For example, this article has to be for this article 12% of GST has to be paid to the government. So I need to take that GST from my consumers now. I'm not going to pay it myself to the government. So I will include extra 12% of 16,925 in my final bill. क्या समझ आ रही है बात आपको? अहमद, अरहान. So we were calculating this. We where did we brought 12%? So we were calculating 12% on the listed price now. We here we took the listed price now. But in this question now, look, GST is given. It's 18%, right, guys? And the which price is given here? Final bill is given now. Final bill is what? The price for which the consumer buys the product. It is also given. But the listed price is missing here now. That we are required to find now. Listed price is not given in the question, guys. And as per the formula is final bill equals to listed price plus GST percent of list price. GST percent multiplied list price simply. So it to be GST percent multiplied list price. Okay. So in this question, the final bill is given here. Look, what are the question? What are the things given in final bill? Final bill is given here. Okay. Listed price is missing. GST percent is given, and again list price is missing here. So we will assume the list price to be X. Let's assume listed price as X. Okay, now let's try to solve it further. So then we will be calculating GST as how much? 18% of listed price, and we have assumed it to be X here. So it's going to be 18% of X, guys. That is 18 upon 100X, right? So we have got the GST here, and we have also assumed listed price here. So let's solve it. Let's put it in the formula here. So 5664, that is the final bill. Listed price, I've taken it to be X, and GST, I calculated it here to be how much? Ahmed, what is the GST we find out?
Yes, sir. The GST is 18%.
18%? No. GST which we calculated when we assume listed price is X.
100.
Ahmed, you are not paying attention over here closely. Look here. GST, it was given in percent here. Okay. But we are required to add the GST in amount with the list price, no? We can't simply add the percent. So we try to find out the exact amount. So after assuming listed price as X, we find out the GST amount to be 18 upon 100X. So that value has to be taken, no? Isn't it, Arhan? So it's 18 upon 100X. So add the two here. It will be 118X upon 100. Also 5664. Now quickly, you guys tell me what is the value of X over here. Yes, calculate this. Not the final bill, we are actually calculating the listed price. X over here is the listed price as we assumed it. Okay, do tell me the answer. Whoever solves it first, just say the answer.
Sir, I found it.
You found it. What is the answer?
Sir, I found it.
It is
Is it 4,800?
4,800. That is correct, guys. Okay, very good. Okay, guys, just give me a minute. I will be back in a minute. Okay. Yes, can you guys hear me now? Okay. So the solution of this question was understandable to both of you, right? Ahmed, did you got it now?
Yes, sir.
Got it? Okay.
Yes,
So this
sir.
is not how you will be asked questions. Either you will be asked to find the final bill after addition of GST, or either you will be required to find the price before the addition of GST. So both the type of questions we have discussed here. Okay. So today I will be giving assignments related to this only. Okay. So in the class, I'm trying to cover the other remaining concepts as well. All right.
So can I take
Okay, guys.
screenshot?
Okay. Yeah, sure, guys. Take the screenshot. Take the screenshot of this one.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Done.
For this one also, take the screenshot.
Done.
Done,
All
sir.
right. Good. Now let's talk about another important concept, that is compound interest. You guys must have heard about this term in previous class, in class 7, I guess. Yeah. Anyone who recall this, who can recall the concept? Ahmed, Arhan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, there are three things: interest,
Hmm.
principal, and I guess
It's a
there
rate,
was one
rate,
more thing. But yes, sir. Rate
rate. Yeah.
is if we have to find the interest, we have to plus all of them and divide them by
Hmm.
100.
Okay, you are missing one thing here. We have to multiply the principal rate and time here. Okay, look here. If you remember in your previous class, in class 7, you must have studied about simple interest, if not compound interest. And the formula was basically P multiplied R multiplied T upon 100. That was the formula to calculate simple interest, guys. Okay, so where P stands for principal amount. All right. R was the rate of interest, and T was the time basically for which you are keeping the your money in the bank. And there was one more thing, amount, and the formula to calculate the amount is principal plus simple interest, right? And for example, look, if someone deposits his amount in the bank, so initially let's say if I were to deposit 1000 rupees in the bank, so this 1000 rupees becomes the principal. It is called as principal amount, simply principal. Okay. And let's say each year the rate of interest, the rate at which this price will increase, let's say it to be 5%. So this was the rate, guys. Okay. And let's say I keep this amount in the bank for 2 years. So two will be here, t, that is time here. Okay. So we were to, if we were to calculate the simple interest on the amount 1000 rupees, so it will be calculated like this: 1000 multiplied 5 multiplied 2 upon 100. Okay. So this 0 gets cancelled and it 100. So it means that after 2 years, the interest that increase on 1000 rupees, it is 100 rupees. That is a simple interest. So now the question is, what was the amount in my bank balance after there was interest on it at the rate of 5% for 2 years? So amount is principal plus simple interest, that is 1000 rupees, guys, plus 100. So that is 1100 rupees. So meaning after 2 years, the amount in the bank, it increased to 1100. That was simple interest. I hope both of you remember it. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Look here.
Yes, sir.
What is happening here? No. In this case, the interest is charged only on the original sum. This interest 5%, it was charged on the original sum 1000 rupees. No. Throughout the time period which we have taken into consideration here, for example, 2 years have been taken into consideration here. Ahmed, are you able to relate? And Arhan, you also?
Yes, sir. I can.
Yes.
It's right here.
Yes. Okay, sure. Very good. Ahmed, you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Look, what about the interest which the banks, post offices, and other financial institutions charge or pay? That is not simple interest. Getting it? So in these cases, what happens? The interest, it will fall due over a period of time. Then it will be added to the original principal to form a new principal to earn further interest. And this can be repeated after several time periods. Getting it?
Yes, sir.
Let me repeat it. The interest which the banks or let's say post offices or there are several other financial institutions also charge or pay, it is not simple interest. Getting it? So in these cases, the interest, you see, as it will fall over a period of time, and it is added to the original principal to form a new principal. Getting it? Why the questions now? It will become more clear. Okay, just listen carefully to what I'm saying here. So in that case, what will happen? The interest, since it falls due over a period of time, it is added to the original principal. So let's say we assume the original principal here, 1000 rupees. So the interest that falls overdue in the case of banks, in the case of post offices or other financial institutions. Okay. So over the period of time, the interest that falls on this amount, it is added to the original principal to form a new principal. Let's say X% of interest falls on the P. Then again, it will be added to the this principal. Then that will give you the new principal. So you added the interest to the original principal, then it gave you new principal here. All right. And this can be repeated for several time periods. Okay. And what about the difference between the original principal and the amount at the end of the last period? So
Yes, sir.
it is, you see, for example, no, initially this was our principal amount. Okay. And over the period of time period, interest was being added to the principal, and then the amount which came after addition of interest, it became the new principal. So let's say it kept on continuing for 5 years. So after 5 years, the amount which you had, okay, and before the 5 years, the amount which you deposited in the bank, the difference between the two, it is basically called as compound interest. Okay. So how do you calculate compound interest now? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Look, how do you calculate compound interest now? So that we will understand via a example here. So pay attention. So pay attention to each and every step which I am going to discuss here. Only then the concept is going to be clear, guys. Okay. So let's take an example. A sum of rupees 10,000 is borrowed from a company by Ahmed for 2 years. Okay, let's say Ahmed, you have a sum of rupees 10,000 that you have borrowed from a company for 2 years. All right. And at an interest rate of, let's say to be 5%, or let's say to be 8% of 8% compounded annually. Compounded annually. All right. So in this case, we know if we were to calculate simple interest, that is pretty simple. All the values are given, you can calculate it. PR into T upon 100. So do tell me what is the simple interest after 2 years first.
Okay,
Then we
sir.
will move on to calculate the compound interest. Yeah. Whoever gets the
Sir,
answer,
it's 160.
tell me.
Sir, it's 160.
It is how much?
Sir, 160.
1600. It is going to be 1600, not
Sir,
160.
can you hear me?
Yeah, you are audible. It's 1600. And what is the amount?
Yes, sir.
Amount. That has to be added simply here, right?
Sir, the amount is 11,600.
11,600. Okay. So basically that is here now that if a simple interest is charged, Ahmed has to pay back how much amount? 11,600 to clear the loan which he has taken. At the end of 2 years, he has to pay 11,600 rupees back to the company, because he basically took loan from the company. Now he borrowed the amount from the company for 2 years at the interest of 8%. So basically he has taken a loan here. So after 2 years, how much amount he has to return to the company? 11,600 here. Okay. Now let us try to calculate this interest in a different way. Okay. So let us try to calculate the interest in a different way, guys. Okay. So what we are going to do here, so we will consider principal for the first year as it is given in the question as 10,000. So principal, I'm writing it short in short. Okay. Principal for the first year. Like in the case of simple interest, हमने दोनों साल के लिए directly हमने calculate किया simple interest, right guys? We put it in the values in the formula and we got it.
Yes, sir.
Right. In the case of in the place of 2t, you must have written 2 here. Now in the let's try to find the interest by different way, in which we will calculate it for separate years. Okay. So let us calculate the interest, and let's just take the principal for the first year to be as given in the question as rupees 10,000. All right. So simple interest for the first year is going to be how much? For first year. Yeah. Calculate the simple interest for the first year. You guys are required to keep all the things same here. Just keep 1 in place of 2. Let me solve it. Ahmed, you are able to relate
Sir,
now?
can we solve it?
Yeah, you guys
Sir,
can solve
can
it.
I solve it?
Yeah, you can solve it. In fact, the answer is not very easy. It's very easy. Look, for 2 years, it is 1600. Now, the interest is 1600 for 2 years. For 1 year, how much it is going to be, Ahmed?
Yes, sir.
For 2 years, the simple interest is 1600 rupees. This is for 2 years, right? For here, we are calculating it for only 1 year for the first year. So it is going to be how much? Just do the simple maths here, no?
Sir, 800.
800, simply just half it, no? Just half this amount. Like 2 साल के लिए interest, it is 1600. Then for 1 year only, it is going to be 800 simply, right? And amount at the end of the first year, how much it is going to be?
Yes, sir.
Amount at the end of the year, end of first year,
Sir, 10,800.
10,800. So at the end of 1 year, Ahmed owes company how much? 10,800 and 800 rupees. This is the amount Ahmed owes to the company. Okay. Now, if he does not pay this amount to the company, as I told you guys moments ago, that by solving the questions only, this concept will become more clear. Okay. So now, if Ahmed does not pays this amount to the company, obviously the company will charge from him interest on this amount thereafter. Look, Earlier अहमद ने कंपनी से 10,000 रुपीज लिया, ओके, फॉर 2 years, राइट। तो हमने जाना कि आफ्टर 2 years कंपनी विल नॉट टॉर्चर हिम, कंपनी विल नॉट आस्क हिम फॉर द लोन, कंपनी उसे लोन नहीं मांगेगी, but after 2 years he has to pay 11,600 rupees to the company. Okay, Ahmed and Adhan. Okay,
Answer
now
is
we are trying to,
Yes, sir.
okay, Ahmed, are you able to relate?
yes, sir.
Okay, now let us try to calculate, we were trying to calculate the interest in a different manner here. Now for the first year, the amount that Ahmed needs to pay to the company is 10,800 rupees. Now if he fails to pay this amount to the company, thereafter company will start levying interest to him on this amount. Now earlier company 10,000 रुपए के ऊपर उसे interest लगा रही थी, now it will be on 10,800 rupees. Getting it? Let me write it over here. At the end of the year, of the 1 year, Ahmed has to pay 10,800 rupees to company. Okay, and if he fails, how much he will have to pay in the next year, that we will calculate. If he fails, the company will charge interest over rupees 10,800 now,
So didn't
not
we
on
calculated
10,000.
already?
Yes, Ran, have you calculated it already?
No, sir. Haven't we calculated already at above when
We
it
have
says that?
calculated. Yeah, look, we have calculated it that the value came to be 11,600 here. But if we were to calculate it using a separate method, in a different method, okay, let's say company says that no, I will charge you the interest for each year. Okay, then in this case, what will happen? For the first year, simple interest has been taken out, has been founded. But what if he fails to pay this amount to the company? Then the interest now will be charged on this 10,800 rupees, guys. So simple interest for second year. So in this case, principal will be how much, guys?
So 11,600.
No, no. Here you guys have messed it. Look here. Earlier now, we took 10,000 rupees to be the principal, right? And at the end of the year, Ahmed failed to pay 10,800 rupees to the company. Now read this statement which I have written here. Ahmed, read the statement, please. This statement. Ahmed. Yes, Ahmed, are you there? Arhan, you read the statement.
Yes, sir. I am sorry. My mic
Okay,
wasn't
so
open.
okay, read the statement.
Thus, at the end of the 1 year, Ahmed has to pay 10,800 to company. If he fails, the company will charge interest 10,800 now.
Right. Okay, so this 10,800 now is the new principal. Okay, so charge जो होता है, the interest that is always calculated on the principal. So this is the new principal here. So you will take the new principal here in the calculation. Rated is how much? 2%. 2% or 8%? It's 8%. And then again multiplied 1 with above 100. All right. So do tell me what is the value here in this case. These two zeros get cancelled here. Yeah. It is how much? 864. Right, guys? And what about the amount? Amount at the end of second year. That is how much? Principal plus simple interest now. So principal was how much? You guys tell me. What was the principal here? New principal which we have to take here, no? Arhan and Ahmed. This is the new principal now. So that you have to take here.
It's
10,800.
11,400.
Yeah, 864. So that gives you 11,664. So notice the difference between the two ways here. In the first method, the amount was 11,600 after 2 years. While in the second case, there's an increment of 64 rupees. If you were to pay interest, if you were to calculate interest in a different manner here, right? So out of the two, which one is better here? It depends, right? It depends. So the interest which is calculated in this manner, this manner, which let me underline it. The interest which we calculated using this manner, that is called as compound interest, guys. Okay, compound interest, and that is usually greater than simple interest. Note this thing here, that compound interest is more than simple interest. Okay, now is the concept clear to both of you or not? Hmm? It is clear now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, so in this case, in this method, you are basically required to calculate the interest for separate years, right? Hope that is clear. Okay, so we will come to, we will let's now now we will try to find we will try to find out the formula for the compound interest. Okay, would you guys like to understand derivation, or shall I tell you the directly only the formula? Since derivation that won't be asked for you guys, so just know the formula. Okay, that will work for you guys. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So formula for compound interest, right? So the usual method which we know, it is that you calculate interest. You calculate simple interest for the first year. Simple interest for the first year, right? Like earlier we were calculating simple interest. Now this is the formula for simple interest. So we calculated simple interest for first year over here. Okay, and then whatever the interest, whatever the amount comes, you will treat it to be the you will treat it as the new principal. Then you will calculate interest for the second year. For the
By the way,
second year, yes, Arhan.
the email was delayed a
No,
little bit.
it is not delayed, but it is not coming properly.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so while we were using these two methods, you guys are aware now how to calculate the amount. Amount is simply
Yes.
principal plus simple interest, right? So in this case, whatever amount came, for example, here, this amount which came, it became the principal for the interest to be calculated in the second year. Okay, right?
Yes, sir.
So we can actually write the amount in the form of a formula, like let's take it to be any amount xyz, or let's say to amount an, that is principal into 1 plus r upon 100 into n. Okay, so let's say that principal is rupees 10. Okay, rate is 5% and it is being applied for first year. So how do we calculate it? It is 10 multiplied 1 plus 5 upon 100 into 1. So that is going to how much, guys? 10 into 100 plus 5 upon 100, right?
Yes, sir.
So it becomes how much? 10.5. So that is the amount. So using this formula, you can calculate it directly. If you are there's no need to use the long method, we can simply find out the amount using this formula. Okay, right? Let me also write what does the letters denote here. This R here, as you guys are already knowing, it denotes rate here. Okay, and this N here will be denoting time period. Time period for which the interest rate is being applied. And P here, as you guys already know, it is principal. Okay, so know this formula here. Okay, now there's also an alternate formula which you guys should be using. Alternate method. The formula is like this. Compound interest equals to principal into 1 plus rate upon 100 into n. Okay, minus 1. Right. So that is the formula you guys can use to calculate compound interest directly. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about the application of compound interest via some questions. Right. Okay, take the screenshot of this page.
Done.
Let me discuss. No, first take first. This is the in a sequence. This is the third page. Okay, so take the screenshot of this one. Okay, now the next page you guys will be marking it as fourth number page in today's class. All right. Now take this one. Okay. Now let's take an example. So let's say the population of a village is 25,000. Okay, so interest which we are basically calculating here, it is not necessarily that it will be calculated on amount only, on money only. It could be calculated in population, it could be calculated on other entities also. So the population of a village is 25,000. Okay, and it is increasing. It is increases at a rate of, let's say, 2% per year, every year. Okay, what would be the population of that village at the end of 2 years that we require to find here? The population of village at the end of 2 years. Did you guys understood the question or not? Yeah.
So by the way, it's 1,000.
It is
The 1,000.
1,000. No, you have missed it by a slight amount. It is close to 1,000. Okay, slightly more than 1,000. And as I told you guys that we can directly use this formula, this amount formula here. Okay, we are basically calculating amount here, not the compound interest. Remember, we are basically calculating what amount here. So amount has to be calculated, remember this. So as usual, first we will write whatever is given in the question. Okay, Ahmed, so do tell me what are the things given here. The population of the village. The population of the village, what does it denote here?
25,000.
It is the principal. 25,000. It is the principal, no? As denoted in the form of P. And what is the rate of interest, Arhan? Sorry, rate of increment of the population?
The 2%.
2%. And time period, Ahmed?
Yes, sir.
Time
Time
given
2
in the
years.
question. 2
2
years.
years.
Okay. And what is the formula? Moments ago I told you guys to calculate amount directly.
The P bracket 1 plus rate divided by 100 by n.
Okay, raised to the power n here. Okay, so simply put the values, you guys will be getting answer here. So let's solve it. Or will you guys be solving it first? Do one thing,
So
take 2 minutes
I
and try
can
to solve it. Okay. So in place of Anna, Ahmed, and Arhan, you guys will simply put 2 and first do calculation under the bracket, whatever value comes, just simply find its square and then multiply with the principal value. It is pretty simple. Just take a moment and try to solve it in relaxed way.
so I found it.
Okay, very good. Ahmed, what about you?
Solving it.
Okay, solve it.
So can I tell the value?
Okay, yeah, sure. Tell me the value.
The amount is 26,010 and the increase per year is 1,000.
1010. Okay. So in the 2 years, the population increased by 1010. Okay. It's not per year. It's during 2 years. Okay. Let me solve it as the time is about to be over. So 25,000 you will write in place of P1 plus 2 upon 100 and 2. Okay. So when you will calculate, do calculation in the bracket, it will be 51 upon 50, I guess, right? Isn't it, Ahmed and Arhan? So it's going to be 25,000 multiplied 51 upon 50 and again 51 upon 50. So do the calculation here. Okay. So it is how much, guys? I guess 26,010, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is the amount which we are getting. So that is the population of the village at the end of 2 years. And you guys can also calculate the increment in the population